Hello and welcome to this video tutorials that will help you complete your PowerPoint 2 working with images assignment. Generally, working with images in PowerPoint is extremely important because it's all about presentation, and as human beings we definitely respond to visuals. So presentation made only out of text would not be very efficient. So let's go for the steps. Just like previous assignments, we're going to launch PowerPoint, whether you're on Mac or Windows. We covered already how to do that, and we're going to create a blank presentation. And as soon as it's launched, we're going to save it. And like I emphasized in the previous assignment, don't save it to an online location such as OneDrive. Save it to your local computer, preferably to your documents folder. And I want you to call it with your last name images, as of course make sure the file type is a PowerPoint presentation. Example, if your last name is Smith, call it Smith Images. So if I launched PowerPoint, I already have a blank presentation. On Mac, the file menu is on the top. You have to touch the top of the screen sometimes to see it. On Windows, file is here to the left of home, but in any case, they both have a command called Save As. Not online locations. I'm not going to press online locations on Windows. We covered that already. I'm not going to press OneDrive. I'm going to click Browse, and then the same dialog appears as I see here. I'm going to call it, I'm just going to pretend I'm a student with a last name Smith. Am I asking for images? Yep, images. And as I was discussing before, that extension PPTX, on my computer it shows, on some computers it doesn't show. If it doesn't, then there's no need to type it manually. And you make sure that the file format is PowerPoint and documents folder. I got a bunch of things there. You might have fewer things there, as long as you remember under what name you saved it and where. And then we're ready to begin. In the first slide, in the title placeholder, we're going to type working with images. That's going to be the title of the presentation. Of course, save after every step. Next, in the subtitle, you're going to type your full name and your course section. And we already discussed where you get that. Let's say, pretending my full name is Joe Smith, and my section. You find your section by going to, let me bring it in, to your course in D2L, going to the home page of the course, and this number at the very end, that's your course section. Not the CGS 1060, that's the name of the curriculum. And either type it or, paste text only. I got it. That way your teacher will know who is the student and where they, what section they came from, who's submitting this assignment. Then insert new slide with a layout, title, and content, which will become slide 2, and the title of that slide will become image 1. New slide, title and content, image 1. And in the content area, we're going to type the words mother and child, but then get rid of the bullet. That's pretty important, even though it has nothing to do with images. So mother and child. But notice that it has a bullet next to it. A bullet makes sense only if there's more than one item. Otherwise, it's not a list. A one, item list is not a list. So I'm going to place my insertion point just to the left of the M of mother. Click delete or backspace, either or, and it gets rid of that. There's no reason for one paragraph or one line to have a bullet. Now finally we get to the images themselves. We're going to the Insert tab. From there to the pictures menu and to something called stock images. Now in class we're going to discuss all the different options and also their legal ramifications of where to get images from, but the one that I'm kind of pushing you into because it's the most convenient and the most free of copyright problems is stock images, and we're going to search for the word mother. So it doesn't matter what's selected, insert pictures right here. It says drop menu under the group images and stock images of all the different options there. And what opens now on Mac, it opens as a pane on the side. On Windows, it's probably going to open like a bigger dialog that covers most of the screen, but the way you operate it is the same. It's an online stock image bank that we can search. I'm going to search for the word mother. And the image I want you to insert, probably we can all find it, is this one. So I select it and I click insert. Takes a second because it downloads it. And here it is. Now, of course, that right now it covers everything I got. I mean, it's like, it's not in the right place and everything, but we're going to take care of that. But at least I got the image. I'm going to save. Search mother, insert picture of mother and child, use this specific image if possible. We're going to resize the picture to a width of 7 inches. Notice that it doesn't say height because when we select the image, just one click on the image, we go to the tab called Picture Format, and on the far right we got the width and height. You see this little checkbox, it locks the width and the height. So when I change the width to 7 inches, which I can do simply by erasing what it's got and typing 7, there's not even need to type the quotations that stand for inches, or you can use the up down steps, whatever, until it gets to 7. It automatically resizes also the height, so there's no need to touch the height. So now the image is 7 inches wide and whatever inches tall. Next, we're going to crop. I want the image to be more or less square with a mother and child in the center. If we look at this image, a lot of this image, it's kind of rectangular, and a lot of it is like, empty space. I want it to be more square. It doesn't have to be exactly square, but more square. So in the tab called Picture Format, while the image is selected, I click Crop. The crop handles show up. It's those thick, black lines. And I can drag those lines until I got something that's more square. In other words, the subject of the picture without too much, unneeded background. And once I got it, those handles to look right, I can click Enter or Return. And it's cropped. The beautiful thing about this is that it's non-destructive, or in other words, if I change my mind and ever click crop again, I can bring it back. It's not, thrown away. So once we cropped it to a square, now we're going to do another cropping on top of that, which is a pretty cool option, which is we're going to crop the picture to a heart shape. How do we do that? It shows you here. I'm going to do it right now. Under the option for cropping, while the picture is selected, drop the menu, crop to shape, find the heart. There's like a million different shapes to choose, and it crops it to a heart. Makes it a lot more interesting. We're putting our own creativity into it. We're going to add a picture border, dark green, 6-point thick. And it says that since we're going to use the same menu to do both things, the border and the thickness, first we're going to change the color to green and then the drop menu to set the weight. So we're going to do it by going to Picture Format, Picture Border. First, green. What kind of green? I'm going to leave this up to you. I'm going to do like pure green. And under the same menu, weight, 6, and it's going to be a thick, nice 6-point. We're also going to add a picture effect called shadow, and we're going to choose the option called bottom right. So while it's selected, picture effect, the family of effects called shadow, outer, bottom right, offset, bottom right. So it gives it a little drop shadow, makes it, pop out of the surface a little bit. Then finally, we're going to move the picture to be at the bottom right of the slide, more or less, with equal margins around it. We're going to do it by eye, something like this. Save. Next, we're going to insert a new slide, again with the layout, title, and content. The title will be Image 2, and let's do that. Home. New slide. Title and content. Image 2. Now we're going to use a different way of inserting an image. Instead of insert and then picture, there's in the content here, you see how there's like shortcuts, and one of them is for pictures. So use the icon in the content to add image, and use the specific one called online image. It's this top left one, because there's two icons that look like images. This one's for images that came out of that are locally on your computer. So we're going to use this, and it's the same as going insert pictures, from. Now, by clicking it, it actually opens a different place, which is really the search engine called Bing. I want to expose you to different ways to get images. So we use the stock photography on the previous one. Now we're using online image, which is kind of the equivalent of searching on Google, but in this case, it's searching with Bing, and since Bing belongs to Microsoft, same as PowerPoint, they are showing you or giving you the option of showing only images that are not going to get you in trouble for copyright, that are what's called either public domain or Creative Commons. We're going to search for the word car. We're going to make sure that Creative Commons only is checked. We do it after we get the results. So I'm going to search for car, and I get all kinds of stuff. But see how the checkbox, Creative Commons only, it already filters for me only images that I'm allowed to use as far as copyright. Very important. Then insert this picture or the closest picture you can find to this. I'm going to try to find this. Any kind of a sports car will do. If you can't find the image that I'm using, this one will do. Let me scroll down a little bit. This is what it found for me today. It changes sometimes from day to day. I'll use this one. It doesn't have to be the exact one as long as it's similar. Insert. Now, what happens a lot of times with images that came from Bing is that they will come with some kind of alternative text, and sometimes even with a caption, and I'm leaving it up to you whether you want to leave it or not. When you click outside, the alternative text disappears. The more important thing is not which image we insert, but what we do to it. We're going to change the picture width to 6 inches and move to right half of slide. So select picture format, change it to, see how I'm using the up-down arrows? Sometimes it's easier than typing, and move it to the right. Picture format tab, picture styles, gallery, and we're going to apply the style called reflected bevel white. Save. Picture format, picture styles. On Mac, we open the gallery on the bottom center. On Windows, there's the same arrow on the bottom right of the gallery. In any case, I open the gallery, and I'm looking for this style. Unfortunately, I have to roll over them to see their names, and it's this one, I believe. Reflected bevel white. And it gives it like a bevel, and the styles are like a package deal of like a border and an effect, and and a reflection and all that stuff. I click outside, looks pretty cool. There's a faint reflection here, looks pretty cool. Next, I always say that a slide without a picture is a lot less effective, but a slide that has only a picture is also not very effective. So normally a slide will have both, and this is why we're going to insert text box, draw a text box more or less on the left side, just like we did in the previous assignment. And in the text box, I'm going to type my dream car is, and on the next line, we're going to type the make and model of my dream car. Something like, 2 or 3 lines. Pick any car, but it has to be a car that actually exists or existed. Feel free to add details. So I'm going to go insert text box. Click, hold, drag to make a text box. Type my dream car is, and I'm going to use the same example. It's a Volvo 1965, a classic. It's called an Amazon. Believe it or not, Amazon was not always an online shopping place. It was used as a brand for other things. 122 wagon. It is manual. Transmission, and it's 4 cylinders, and whatever other things can say the color. You can do whatever. Save. Make sure that you don't have spelling errors, because whenever we deal with text, spelling is important. Then a new slide with, again, the layout, title, and content, which will be our 4th slide. And we're going to type in the title my icon, just like we had image 1, image 2. Our 4th slide, home, new slide, title and content, let's do it cap, my icon. Save. In the content, we're going to type the word ducks and get rid of the bullet. As soon as you type text, it's like you have to make a choice. Am I going to use it for text or for one of those icons? As soon as you type text, you can see that the icons disappeared. I want to get rid of that bullet, so I place the insertion point right before the text and either delete or backspace. We're going to go to another source of images, which is not pictures but icons. Insert icon, search for the word duck, and insert the solid black duckling icon. Insert. There's a special icon for icons. Again, on Windows, it will probably open as a bigger window in the middle. On Mac, it opens as a pane on the side, but we're going to search the same thing, duck. And it comes up with 4 of them. The one I want you to use is the solid, this one, not the grown-up one, but the duckling, the one that looks like a rubber ducky, but the filled one, not the outlined one. And insert, and it inserts 1. Save. Insert the solid one. Copy the icon and then paste it 3 times to have a total of 4. So in other words, by the end of this step, I want 4 ducks in a row. While it's selected, just the icon to make sure it's nothing else, I'm going to go to copy this icon, copy, and then paste, paste, paste. And I got 4 of them, and then I can start moving them to be more or less in a row. We're going to take care of the fact that they're exactly, distributed evenly and so on. That's going to be one of our next steps. In graphic, make sure that all of them are selected. On Mac, we're going to hold Command while clicking. Let me add this. And in Windows, we're going to hold Control. So you need two hands for that. I'm on Mac, so I'm holding the Command key. And with my mouse, I'm clicking 1, 2. This one's already selected. 4, and then I can let go of my command. If this was Windows, same thing with Control. Again, hold the key and then click, 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 and they're all selected, which will enable me to go to the tab called Graphics Format, find the drop menu called Align, and then what we need to do with Align is align middle. Align middle will make sure that they're exactly in the middle between the top and the bottom of the slide. So middle means up, down, align middle. And you can see that they're exactly in the middle. And then we're going to perform one more thing on them. Graphic Formats tab, Align, Distribute horizontally. You see how, like, these two are a little closer than these two and so on. Cleanliness gives the feeling of professionalism. So right now it looks kind of okay, but not exactly. It looks handmade. If I go to, again, Graphics Format, Align, and Distribute horizontally, it makes sure that they're exactly the same distance from each other. Save. Then, in Graphics Format tab, Graphics Fill, we're going to give each one of the ducks a different color. Red, blue, green, purple. Left to right, you're free to select whatever shade of color you want. That's our last step. So let's do that. I'm going to click outside, so none of them are selected. Then click on one of them. Graphics Format, Graphics Fill, and this one is going to be red. This one is going to be blue. This one is going to be green. And this one is going to be purple. You can choose different shades of those colors as long as I can still recognize them as red, blue, green, and purple. Let's see if I did it in the right order. Red, blue, green, purple. Save, exit, PowerPoint, submit to your assignment box. Of course, don't rush it. Make sure that after this video that you go through all the steps. You should have 4 slides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Save one last time. You can exit on Mac, PowerPoint, quit. On Windows, there's going to be an X here on the top. On Mac, you can close the document with the X on the top left. In any case, my file is now, because that's where I put it, in the Documents folder, and that's where I can upload it from to the assignment box to get graded. Good luck.